You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. You're watching Pirate Breakdown with Sutton Young. Join Sutton every Wednesday night on The Sports Objective as he talks East Carolina football. Here's Sutton.
Welcome into the Pirate Breakdown. I'm Sutton Young and joined by Dave Richmond. Dave, how are you, man?
Doing great. I'm glad to be on. It's different being the guest, but enjoyed your show, watching it on Facebook and YouTube. And make sure everybody subscribes to that YouTube channel and obviously like our Facebook page. And I tell you what, Sutton, you've done. I knew you would. You've done an excellent job so far, and I know you'll continue to do so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Really, it's been a joy to be able to do this, and through the ups and downs of the year. I mean, if we look at things, we really should be a solid 5-0, but 3-2 going into week 6. We are almost halfway there, guys. We are inching closer to that halfway mark. 3-2. If I were to say early on, maybe in March, April, that's where I expected we would be. Maybe later on, looking at how bad Navy was, I could give the argument, we could be 4-1 too, but 3-2, it's okay. But the thing about this next stretch with Tulane, Memphis, UCF, I'll go ahead and say this, Dave. I think we need to win at least 2 of those games.
Yep. Yeah. I think, Sutton, something that dawned on me today, and I don't know, I give a shameless plug for the Pirate Preview on Tuesday nights, but I don't know why I didn't think about it. But I really believe something that I've been thinking about all season is that this team still is, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway because we can. But I really believe this team is still struggling to find ways to win, learning how to win.
Right.
I think that, for example, the state game and the Navy games, I believe we should have won those games. We didn't. I mean, we played our hearts out in that state game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a theme that we've had. But what it comes down to is literally we have a team that it's like trying to find a way to close games out the same way with the Navy game. So that's where I am now is that, like, the ultimate question I would have for Mike Houston, for the coaches, the players, how do you close games out? Because that's what we need to do.
Right.
Close games out. You close those 2 games out, we are in the top 25 for sure. Maybe like 23, 24, something like that. But shoulda, coulda, woulda, we didn't. But, you and I and Bubba and Kyle, Matt, we all have to cover these games. And I was thinking about that too. I think there's a lot of people. Kyle's talked about it. I'm tempering my expectations for Saturday because Sutton, this is a razor thin game that we have on Saturday. It's pretty much, I know it's swinging the money now towards Tulane, but it's basically I think 3.5 is a line. It's basically a pick'em game right now.
The pick'em, no doubt about it. Earlier in the year, I would have said for sure, and I think I said this earlier on, that we would win this game. I'm not so confident right now, and I say that for 2 reasons. One, look at how well Tulane has played. They beat a very good Kansas State team who upset Oklahoma and beat Houston in overtime, so we can see, we saw really how good they've been. And 2, I'll be honest with you, Dave, I think our offense has been inconsistent.
Yeah, well, I think it's a matter of there's something else that's really funny, Sutton. 4 years of Mike Houston, every single year that we've been covering this team, we go back to the last year of Moas when we started this podcast. The funny thing is they have a pattern, and the pattern is we start out playing conservative, like play calling being conservative, and then all of a sudden there's the call-in shows and and obviously the message boards and all that. And all of a sudden everybody says, hey, open up the playbook. You're playing the conservative, and all of a sudden it's funny because all of a sudden now last week down in Tampa, I did it again. down in Boca Raton. I want so bad because I know where USF is. Moving that game has really messed me up. But down in Boca Raton, they literally they opened up the playbook. That's what's frustrating, by the way, for the Navy game for me was losing to Navy is one thing, but knowing that we could beat them and you lose to them. In 2020, we lost a close game. They wouldn't let Holt Nailers play, which is a whole another show, as they say.
Right.
Last year, we have the big kick from Daffer to win it. This year, we should have won it. We didn't. But it comes down to the play calling, and that's one of the keys for me. There's 3 keys for me this week, but that's one of them is to make sure to open up the playbook because I feel like Sutton, these games are 50-50 games. If you're playing, here's my point, and I'll let you talk. Sorry. If you're playing Alabama, Clemson, a team that we're way overmatched, then you need to have a conservative game plan, try to run the ball to shorten the game, if you will, so that Alabama doesn't win by 50, 60 points.
Right.
Because if you try to match them toe-to-toe, that's going to happen. But when you have these 50-50 games, you need to be all stops. You need to be going for it 100% is the way I feel.
Yeah, I mean, that Navy game, it was like we saw a different team. And I'll say this too. I mean, I understand the triple option mess. I get it. I mean, it's tough to prepare for. That wasn't the issue. Offense was the issue. And like you said, Dave, I mean, that game plan, frankly, just was not very good. I mean, you look at it, I mean, that game was a head scratcher. Luckily, we bounced back against USF, though, granted, Dave, USF's defense is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I think that my question to you, Sutton, because you follow the team very closely, is I'm just wondering about Coach Scott. How much, we have a guy that we think a lot of with Skip Holtz. They fired him at in USF. How much more patience will that program have with Coach Scott? I like Coach Scott, so let me say I'm not up here beating a drum for him to be fired, but that's my question. You know the world we live in as far as coaching is concerned, and the microwave society. We want it now, and not what have you done for me lately. He's trying to build a program, but how much patience do you have if you're in Tampa?
Well, I mean, I think too, if you look at the landscape of college coaching changes, I mean, we've had Herm Edwards, Scott Frost, obviously Jeff Collins was just given the axe, and more recently you have Jay Norvell, or not that he's Colorado State, excuse me, Colorado's coach, and Carl Durrell, and Paul Christ at Wisconsin. That's 5 Power 5 head coaches, and we're not even through week 6.
Exactly.
I mean, you kind of see the trend here, Dave, and there's so much money on the line. Even in the American, there's so much money. And I was thinking this last week. I think that Jeff Scott could be gone as soon as in 2 weeks, because it seems to me that program has not improved in the slightest. Ever since Willie Taggart left, that program has just gone down the drain. And that's my opinion, but it doesn't seem like there's any improvement under Jeff Scott.
Yeah, I really believe I had thought this is what I had thought by now, not to say that they would be competing for the American championship, but I thought we would see this is year 3, right? If my memory serves me right. Yeah, by year 3, because last year when we saw the Pirates year 3 under Houston, you saw some bright spots, and it gave us hope to know that the program the program is heading in the right direction. And not to make this all about USF, but I'm just not seeing that things are getting better for the folks in Tampa. I don't care anything about USF. I'm glad we've won 3 straight against them. But just looking as a fan of college football, and you want the conference to be better, then I want to see that program better. But hey, if they're going to stay with him and it's going to stay down, then so be it. But I was just curious your thoughts on that, because I really thought things would be better by now.
Right. And something to think about too, Dave, is I mean, you look in a couple of years' time, the big three in our conference, I mean, depends on the year, but Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, they're gone. So I think, Dave, it relies on us, South Florida, Tulane, those three teams. I mean,
Yep,
I don't,
Memphis.
I don't want Memphis too. Yep, I don't expect anything out of Temple, but we need to establish ourselves as the four teams in the conference. I mean, otherwise, I mean, I hate saying this, but I think that the conference could lose. I mean, not respect, but I mean, power.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's in serious trouble here because, I mean, you're bringing in, and this is not to bash any of these programs, but Charlotte, who is terrible this year, Rice, who's never been great recently, and FAU. I mean, you look at those three, for instance. I mean, granted, you have UAB, UTSA. I mean, you have those two in North Texas. I mean, they're not bad.
Yeah. I think that San Antonio program, the Roadrunners at UTSA, man, they are great. And well, I would say great. They're good. There's a difference between good and great, as I've always heard.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a good team. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. Do I think when you see those names and you hear those names, do those programs really jump out at you? No, but I do believe it's going to be good for recruiting for Mike Hughes, the company, with the different areas. I think there's some fertile grounds that we'll be able to go to.
Right.
And, like you said, one of the things that it's going to make me really angry is when those three schools leave. I really believe that the program is, even with Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, if they were still here, that we could win a championship. The sad thing is they're going to leave. We'll win the championship. And then they go, oh, the only reason why you won a championship, Sutton and Dave, for ECU, is because those teams are not there. And I don't think that's the case. I think Mike Houston has done a nice job building this program. The recruiting is tremendous. We're getting more recruits, some we may not have ever gotten. If you look at the state of South Carolina, and you know how Dabo Swinney, you look at Shane Beamer, those two guys are down there, right? Those are the programs you think about in South Carolina. Mike Houston, with his days at the Citadel, and those coaches have done an amazing job getting guys like Rajay Harris and others that come from South Carolina. And they have done with their connections there. I'm really impressed with those programs, with our program getting the high school programs out in South Carolina.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And to your point, that's really, like you said, that's the big thing I'm worried about, is the conference just losing its edge. I mean, you look at the AAC when Charlotte, UTSA, the Conference USA schools join, you look at them compared to the Mountain West, Dave, frankly, it's not even close. The Mountain West is a way better conference.
Well, I think what we're going to have to do is, I was telling the guys, scheduling wise, we need to schedule a lot of the Sun Belt teams, ACC schools, SEC schools. It comes down to what our fans want. We're the customers. And can you imagine, like with season tickets, if you have the Marshalls of the world, which we are playing, but I love the ODU series. I'd love to see Coastal Carolina. We're playing App State on a regular basis, which is awesome. Then if you look at the in-state schools like NC State, we're playing, but will we play after the next couple times? UNC and Duke. I understand Duke because Duke is saying, hey, we're trying to get to a bowl every year. And we play East Carolina. That's not necessarily going to be a win. Would probably be a loss.
Yeah.
But I do like what Mike Elko is doing there. But as far as the other schools, you're talking about Charlotte, there's a lot of schools that we can, and now they're in the conference next year, but there's a lot of schools we can play in the Sun Belt. Like I said, the different conferences that's going to be fun, but I hope that we'll start scheduling them. And maybe, and we were talking about that too, maybe some teams that we don't normally schedule, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, Big 12, there's schools that I'm sure that we could compete against. And again, for people that don't know me, I love scheduling, and I would love to see not a murder's row schedule, but I do think there's going to be a different philosophy in scheduling when you see 2024 Sutton, when they're going to go to the playoffs, and we're going to have to improve our schedule.
Yeah, and that's something I've seen a lack of the last 6 years or so. I remember when I was a kid, I hate saying Power Five because I don't like to consider ourselves in a league with Coastal Carolina, Troy, ULM, but we used to have 3 Power Five games a year. I think moving forward, granted, I know that. I'll say it straight up. I don't think we're playing Carolina anytime soon.
No, they won't play us. We beat them 3 straight times, and they're not going to play us because they expect to get a win, and they're not guaranteed to win against East Carolina.
No,
and even Scotty Montgomery beat Carolina.
Montgomery beat Carolina. Anybody could have beaten Carolina that year. But no, we need to bring at least 2 Power Five.
Yeah, Justin Butts, who actually, I'll give a shout out to Justin. He's a fan of us. He's one of the equipment guys and the drivers down there, and one of the thankless jobs. But he's mentioned about Liberty, Kentucky, Kansas. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm all for that. In fact, Lance Leopold, he's done a nice job at Kansas. Are you kidding me? Kansas is a basketball school. Mark Stoops at Kentucky, what a great job he's done. Basketball school. And if you're Calipari, by the way, aren't you feeling a little bit of pressure that you got Mark Stoops winning in a top 10 program, and football and basketball has been struggling over the last handful of years? Yes. Whole nother show. I know we're doing the Pirate Breakdown here tonight and hanging out with you. It's so much fun. You're the best. I really enjoy your work, and proud of you, all the accomplishments at WITN too.
Thank you. Let's real quickly here before we wrap up. It's the game Saturday. It's a big one. Tulane, ECU. Dave, what do you expect the scheme? How do you expect the offense to perform? Because really, that this game is going to come down to ECU's offense.
Oh yeah, it's no question about it. I think that the matchup for me, Sutton, to look at, the breakdown, if you will. How about our ECU offense and that Tulane defense, Sutton, is really, really good. And I want everybody to understand that Tulane that I grew up with, this is not, except for like the 98 season, this is a really good Tulane football team. And just because you don't know the brand name it's not like the name that you would hear like a big time football program. I want Pirate Nation to temper their expectations. Not that we can't win, but this is going to be, it won't be like last Saturday. This is going to be a really big fight on our hands. Right. And I got 3 keys that I'm looking at on Saturday, Sutton. But certainly when you mentioned the offense, you're right. Let's have trick plays. Let's have, if it's a fake field goal and you think Daffer's going to kick it, and it's Naylor's holding the kick, and he throws a pass in the end zone to Winstead or something like that. Anything would be fun. That's what I miss about Coach Logan. So I'm looking for those kind of things. I think it comes down to, Matt said, execution.
Yeah.
Whoever executes more plays. Obviously the turnover issue, you can't make those mistakes and penalties. Mm-hmm. And I tell you the key for this whole game, and people are going to say, oh my Lord, but both teams are struggling in special teams, Sutton. And that is where I really believe that's the number one. If you circle one thing, you say, Dave, what is one thing that you're looking for? Their kicker's horrible, and ours has been struggling. And I love Daffer, but he's been struggling. Both of them have been struggling for Tulane and for ECU. So I'll tell you another thing. It'll be interesting to see again, Sutton, watch on the game on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. If on 4th down, if Mike Houston goes for it, or is he going to let Daffer kick like a 40, 45-yarder? And sorry, I'm rambling on, but that's my keys.
You're not wrong. I think he'll go for it. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. If ECU loses both Saturday and next week, the Pirates will be sitting at home during the bowl season.
No, I don't think that. No, I won't go that far. I will say this. If we want to have any kind of shot, this is my thing. You want to have any kind of shot of playing for a championship, like we're on the outside looking in right now. We're a bubble team to make the championship game, to compete for a championship. Mm-hmm. You have to win. There's so many. Coach Logan Sutton in the summertime was talking about, that
Mm-hmm.
we're finally at where we're at 50-50 games. This is a game, I hate to use the term must win. I don't think it's a must win to go to a bowl, but I do believe that if you want to have your hopes of playing for a conference championship and one of your goals that you have on the chalkboard, then you better win on Saturday. And again, if you play a conservative game, that's what I'm looking for. You have a conservative game plan to run clock and hope to God we have a chance. We're going to lose. So you need to play aggressive.
Yep.
This I'll tell you what, every single game between now and December is a bowl game. This
Mm-hmm.
is like an elimination game. Let's pretend like if we lose this Saturday, we're out.
Yeah.
Our back's against the wall. If we do that,
Right.
that's the kind of urgency we need, my friend. If we do that, then we're going to a bowl. But I do agree with you. If we have a conservative game plan the rest of the way, then I will definitely agree with you. We'll be sitting home.
Yep. All right. Let's do it real quick, Dave. Score prediction. What do you think is going to happen Saturday?
Well, I have to say that they say it's 3.5 for the line. I think I'm going to go a low-scoring game. I'm going to say Pirates 27-24, and I'm going to go with my man Daffer. I do believe he's going to make a kick, and finally, there's going to be one game where he turns his fate around, and all of a sudden, watch it, Sutton, watch. As soon as that guy makes a field goal and we win by 3, he's the best thing since slight spread. That's why you have to love fans, because one week they're against you and they hate you. You're a dog, and the next week you're a goat. You're the greatest of all the time.
Right. I mean, I love ECU more than anything, though with picks, I'm honest. And USF, in my opinion, is an FCS level team at the moment. I just think with how good Tulane is playing, I think ECU is in trouble. I'm going to say Tulane is going to win. I'm gonna say similar to what you said, Dave. I'm gonna go 24-20. I expect Owen to make some kicks as well. 24-20. I think Tulane's gonna win, but it is a pick 'em. Dave, any final thoughts?
I'm looking forward to it. I want everybody to watch it, and I will say that one more thing, Sutton, that I want, and you can see if you can pull some strings because you're an ECU guy. I want to have games like this on Saturday. Look, can we have watch parties where you and me and a lot of great Pirate fans, where we can get together like an official watch party where we can get together and have a good time? That's something that these away games, I miss all you guys. I miss the excitement, and would love to make some money for the university where we're buying some Pirate beverages or water, soda, whatever. But I hope the administration will listen to me, because I think it will be a winner.
No doubt. I mean, I'll probably end up going to tiebreakers. I'm looking forward to trying the new Cocos where the cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be somewhere watching the game. So
Right.
It'll be a good one.
Hopefully the Pirates win. Thank you, man, so much for having me on the Pirate Breakground tonight.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Make sure to watch the game on Saturday on ESPNU. We'll see you next week. Have a great night.